I've taken on all sorts of challenges on this channel, but I've never tried anything like speedrunning before. It takes countless hours of dedication to honing the art of schmovement just to get even an average run. Personally, it's not for me and probably never will be, and while I respect the people that do it, there is no possible way you could convince me to do something so utterly inane with my time.
Think you can do better? Go try it then. I tell you what, I got $250 for the person who can push a run the furthest in a week.
So, I'm a speedrunner now? A YouTuber by the name of Jonathan attempted to get a top 1000 speedrun in the 16-star category of Mario 64 in only a week, and I'm not going to spoil the outcome of that here. If you want to find out how it went, go check out his channel. Right now. To hell with my viewer retention, he deserves it more. Now, top 1000 doesn't sound like a very hard goal to hit until you realize that 16 star is one of the most popular speedrunning categories in one of the most popular speedrunning games of all time. And for someone like me who has never touched Mario 64 to walk in and think that I can just haphazardly achieve a decent run with only several days of practice, we have a word for that. But at the start of this whole endeavor, I truly believed that for the first time, I'd finally be able to justify min-maxing my gaming stat at birth at the cost of everything else, and I was ready to prove once and for all that I am, in fact, a slightly above-curve gamer. So, with that in mind, let's get to work learning all the various tricks and movement techniques that every beginner 16-star speedrunner should know. In order of appearance, we've got Lakitu skip, bomb clip, owlless, cannonless, kidnap, fall off map, bird bump, temple jump, lift clip, mips clip, fire sea to exit stage, BLJ the staircase, and having done all that, we're able to make it to the final stage, defeat Bowser, and claim our world record.
16 star is dead. 16 star is fucking dead!
Now, it's great to know that all these tricks exist, but there's still one microscopic problem. I don't know how to play the game. Mario's controls take so much getting used to and can feel clunky until you get the hang of it, and sometimes I press A and Z at the same time and do a ground pound instead of a long jump. I never stopped doing this for the entire 7 days, so most of the first day was spent learning the basic fundamental controls as I casually followed the route laid out in this very helpful 16-star guide by Drogi. I tried to follow along with some of the easier tricks, such as learning the entire Konami code setup that is canonless, as well as bouncing off this shy guy here to get the Klepto Star. I tried and struggled for so long to get up the staircase with a BLJ, but eventually got it. The BLJ, or backwards lettuce tomato, works by chaining a bunch of long jumps together while going backwards up these stairs. Since backwards speed has no cap in this game, it's possible to build up so much momentum that Mario just smashes through the locked door. This has to be done twice to complete 16 star, and is by far the least consistent and most prone to failure of any trick in the run. And it's right before the end. To measure my progress for the purpose of the challenge, I'd need to complete a run on the first day and compare it to my final run later. So after maybe 5 hours of practicing the basics, I got to work on some actual attempts. They didn't have to be good, they just had to be something. And something is exactly what I got. To summarize, I failed Lakitu skip, didn't know how to bomb clip, failed cannonless once, then I died once going for the Klepto Star. I breezed through every other star after that, making surprisingly good pace. However, this run would soon be brought to its knees as I still lacked the training to do mips clip. I got lucky once in practice, thought it was easy, and never looked back, but only now when the pressure was on did I realize I had truly no idea how it worked. I just knew to go to the right side of the door, set mips down, and pick it back up. I lost a few minutes here until I flailed my way into the solution. I have a rough time getting on top of this let me rephrase that, trying to board this submarine, but once we do, we follow up with a somewhat competent fire sea, and after that, well... Backwards long jumps are hard, okay? After about 6 minutes where many whoos were yawed, we make it into the final stage and choke miserably for another couple minutes, ending up with a final time of 33 minutes and 37 seconds. Not exactly good, but for a guy who still doesn't know which camera button to press half the time, it could have been worse. The most significant part of this run was that it made me aware of how desperately I would need to practice the staircase BLJ and final Bowser stage. So that's what I did. Every day I would devote at least an hour to just mashing the A button up the staircase. To be honest, the trick felt like a total coin flip, and every time I thought I'd figured out a consistent strategy, it turned out to be a fluke. On top of that, prolonged periods of mashing really took their toll on me. By the end of day 2, I had a blister on my thumb and my entire arm ached because, like the spastic I am, I tense up a lot when I mash. Of course, I wasn't about to let something like this deter me. After all, one of my favorite speedrunners once taught me that if speedrunning causes you physical pain, you should just power through it.
Somehow, I've developed carpal tunnel. Twice.
On second thought, maybe we'll cut down the BLJ practice a little bit. Aside from that, the rest of day 2 was devoted to learning all the tricks I had neglected before, like bomb clip and MIPS, which were both surprisingly easy to execute. To top things off, I learned an easier way to get Lakitu skip at the start of the game by long jumping slightly to the right at the start. Day 3 is when I started to get a little bit wacky, and also a little arrogant. I thought to myself, why do the entire cannonless setup? I already knew what visual cue to look for, so instead of the usual backflip and punch shenanigans, I opted to line up Mario's right foot with this dark pixel on the plank, walk straight down and continue as normal. This had just as high a success rate as the other method and saved around 5 to 10 seconds on average. Another change I made was to disregard the owl completely for the cage star. So-called professionals strongly recommend not attempting owlless if you're a new player because it barely saves time if you have beginner movement, it's pretty precise, and your time would be better spent perfecting other parts of the run. They're correct, but that didn't stop me. Eventually I got to the point where I'd hit owlless about 60% of the time, so we'll just add that one to the list of arbitrary dice rolls I'll need to complete a good run. In addition, I practiced the 2 stars in shifting sandland and had backup strats for if I failed the intended pyramid jump. The route to Hazy Maze Cave hasn't really improved since day 1, which is fine since there was comparatively little time to be saved there. By the end of the day, the only thing I really struggled with was the BLJ. Also, I still kept finding clever and unique ways to die on each of the Bowser stages. Speaking of Bowser stages, there was one more thing. The Bowser throws. It's insane that something every player will have to do in a casual playthrough ends up being such a devastating point of failure in speedruns. You'd think with how massive the bomb hitboxes are that nobody would ever miss a Bowser throw, but you'd be wrong. That's pretty much what day 4 was dedicated to. I got into a cycle of practicing the BLJ, breezing through Bowser in the sky, and trying to hit all 3 bombs back to back. I found that for the 3rd throw, Bowser was too far away for me to reliably hit any bombs without moving closer first, but this was solved by just changing which bomb was used for the 2nd hit. BLJ, Bowser in the sky, Bowser throws, repeat for 2 hours. During this stream, I decided to do another actual attempt. There were a couple early resets, but we ended up getting a run that I thought was fairly decent. Some mistakes were made here and there, but nothing crucial, and those mistakes were rectified by getting the first BLJ immediately and the second one in about half a minute. I was evidently getting better at these, I just didn't understand how, and to be honest, I still don't. Bowser in the Sky only has one small hiccup, and we land 3 out of 4 Bowser throws, netting a new PB of 22 minutes and 51 seconds. So far it felt like the process of learning the game had gone very smoothly, and it felt like further practice would only give diminishing returns, so I decided day 5 and onward would be solely dedicated to grinding out attempts to break the sub 20 minute threshold. After a quick warm-up, we start our first real run of the day. It all goes perfectly until we accidentally ledge grab in Cool Cool Mountain and fall helplessly into the void. A bit disheartening for sure, but that blunder is made up for later as we manage to set a new best in several time splits. I get distracted and take the wrong route in HMC, but it doesn't cost more than a few seconds. The real problem is that we end up missing MIPS and have to chase that rabbit tail all the way around the castle. However, since we successfully MIPS clip immediately, this segment ends up being almost as good as any other. Now the moment that gatekeeps every single good run, the dreaded staircase. The first staircase goes just fine and we were almost on pace for a sub 20, but then, well, about a minute and 10 seconds go by before Mario is able to slide his fat Italian dumpy up to the top of those stairs. It was okay. There was still plenty of time to beat my previous record, and at the very least that was proof that I was improving, and by continuing to improve, sub 20 was inevitable. That's what I told myself, over and over, as I proceeded to chug more balls than ever thought humanly possible for 2 whole minutes. Then right at the end of the game, I just gave up. This was the first time I experienced just how terrible speedrunning can make you feel. That wasn't the last time that happened that day either. Once again, we make it to the staircase on pace for a new PB, but this time we choke the first staircase and miss some jumps in the Bowser stage, and next thing you know, the run's over with the timer at 25:06. The rest of the day is spent trying the exact same thing, only to restart due to playing like garbage early game. The next run to make it to the stairs was already over 19 minutes by the time it did, and I was only playing it out because I was sick of restarting. I had abandoned all hope for this one, but to my surprise, we get both BLJs very quickly. As long as I play well in the Bowser stage, this could still end up being a sub 21. Yeah, 23:14. At this point, I'm about ready to call it a day after one more run. After a scuffed owlless and a death on the Pyramid Star, we somehow make it into Fire Sea at an above average pace, and choke yet again. Another mediocre run reaches the staircase, and despite all odds, I once again clear the staircases almost immediately. Even more impressive, I managed not to fumble the Bowser stage like every other try. We make it to the final boss with 21 minutes and 10 seconds on the board. All that was left was to land Bowser throws 1, 2, and... I missed the last one. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. So while I did get a new PB of 22:39, I just couldn't be happy about it. I closed the game, rested up, and prepared for day 6. While I still had day 6 and 7 left, it would have been nice to get that sub 20 by the end of the day to relieve the pressure of having to clutch up on the final day. Early on, we end up with a pretty average run that makes it to the staircase in 18 minutes. I've learned not to attach myself to these runs too much since so many of them die here, but somehow we make it up quickly yet again. And just like that, we have yet another chance at a sub 20 run. But a tale as old as the inception of spaghetti itself unravels, as I choke yet another win. We still make it to Bowser in under 21 minutes, but miss several easy throws. This ends up being a new PB, so I should be proud, right? But then why does improvement feel so terrible? Is this how it's supposed to be? Reset after reset, choking at a pivotal point each time. My resets would continue to get more and more frequent and fill me with a little bit more rage. It took 7 more attempts just to make it to Fire Sea again, and the only thing more aggravating than choking a section you know you struggle with is choking a section you feel like you've already solved. This run ended in that exact way. I had to take a break to clear my head after this. I got a decent run that barely missed out on a new PB. I didn't care to finish it. Next attempt was going fine, until I forgot how to MIPS clip and lost a minute. But with 2 decent BLJs and barely losing any time on the Bowser stage, we make it to Bowser just in time to get a new PB. After all of that, we shaved off 3 seconds. I'm still not satisfied with this, but at the very least I could find comfort in the fact that most of my time losses were due to major mistakes on my part, and not the result of smaller adjustments like cleaning up my generally sloppy movement. Sub 20 was easily within my grasp, and all it came down to was whether I could go 20 minutes without tragically throwing it all away. The very next run was off to a terrible start. I failed bomb clip and owlless, and failed cannonless multiple times. Yet for some reason I felt compelled to play it out anyways. Over the course of the run, I gradually made up for all that time, managing to BLJ the endless staircase and enter the final stage by 1840. Things were suddenly looking good, and so was my movement through the stage, until yet again, everything spiraled out of control. Except I brought it back this time. We enter the Bowser fight and are on pace to hit the 21-minute mark, but as it often goes, I missed one of the bombs early on. I make up for it by hitting the rest and finish with a final time of 21:17, a full minute improvement. If this keeps up, the challenge could easily be completed before the final day, or so I thought before I proceeded to not get another PB for the remaining 3 hours of the stream. Just as I feared, it would all come down to day 7. The day starts off with a pretty solid run. There was a death in Cool Cool Mountain, and the stairs took slightly longer than I would have liked, but we make it up the endless staircase with about 18 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock. We clear the stage with only mild spaghetti, and miss the final bomb throw on Bowser. That miss was the final straw that broke the sub 21's back, though it's hard to complain about a new PB so early into the day. And when I say early, I mean I started at around 6 PM, which meant I had 6 hours left to either achieve sub 20, or end up sad and alone, ridiculed for the rest of my life as a fake gamer. And I'm not going to let them revoke my gaming certificate. With one failed attempt after another, I could feel the progressive draining of the hourglass, the sands of time slipping through the cracks of my mid-Mario gameplay. To make matters worse, as the minutes turned to hours, the fatigue would likely set in, disrupting my flow even further. Helpless in the face of the time crunch, all I could do was try and try again, resetting the bad runs early and losing the good runs to staircase jank. Finally, after the repetitive onslaught of trash, one good attempt finally reveals itself. The best attempt I got during this entire challenge. We get Lakitu skip, nail bomb clip, first try owlless, whiff cannonless, but it's fine, we've got a backup plan. And we get it next try, which means we're still making good time. The other stars are a cakewalk, and we exit the Bowser 1 split at 8 minutes and 32 seconds. In Shifting Sandland, we rob that bird of its property, and I execute my fastest pyramid star yet. Next is Lethal Lava Land, and sadly, this is where the fates decided that things were going a bit too smoothly. Dude, no way. No, dude. Okay. At least I didn't die. By narrowly avoiding death, the run is still looking good. We snatch all the HMC stars, give Toad a wet sloppy smooch, and now to answer the question on everyone's mind, can I shove this rabbit through a door? Not only is the answer yes, I have never before done it faster, and we are now a full minute and a half ahead of our other time. With Fire Sea complete, it all comes down to whether or not the staircase gods are feeling generous. I won't need them though. This is it. It's really happening. As long as I remember all that I've practiced over the last 7 days and don't let the nerves win, this run is as good as... It happened again. There's only 2 words I can think of to describe that moment. Heartbreak and misery. The feeling of knowing that I'd just flushed away my best run, and the sinking sensation as it dawned on me that I might not get another chance like this before the deadline, it made it really hard to focus on the subsequent attempts. Ultimately, I never did get a run as good as that one. I know it's rare to see me fail a challenge like this, but overall, this has been a really humbling experience for me. Regardless, thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed, remember to leave a like and maybe subscribe to help out the... Wait, what? No, that can't be true. He's still going? But he'll never make it in time. Unless, by God, look at him schmoove. It's like a demon has possessed his body. This man has sacrificed his humanity, and in exchange, he has received the world. No way. Oh, no way. 16 stories dead! With a final time of 19 minutes and 35 seconds, this week-long endeavor is finally over, and that $250 prize is as good as mine. Or is it? I've got a proposal for you. Yes, you, don't pretend you can't hear me. The way things stand, that Jonathy guy is gonna owe me $250 by April 21st, and since I'm confident that none of you half-sacks are better than me at video games, I'm gonna puff my chest and drop another 200 smackaroonies onto that pile. Check out his video for details on how to enter. Gotta say, this whole speedrunning thing just isn't for me, and I don't plan on doing anything like it again. For now, I'll relish in the achievement of getting top 1000 after only a week of playing. Wait, these are the leaderboards for actual console runs. Ah, motherfuck.